No, I don't think what I'm going to say is anything groundbreaking. But just speaking personally, I was talking to my wife actually about it this weekend, and I was a little bit frustrated. Friday after the show, and I've been frustrated for a while as a voice on the Padres flagship, and really not to toot our own horn, but a pretty successful show and a lot of listeners. And I feel like the strategy, or I guess lack of strategy right now with what the Padres are doing, is starting to stick in my craw a little bit. And, of course, I'm talking about the lack of transparency, the lack of accountability so far. And I realize that there are still games to go. And I realize that teams handle their business differently. I realize that, other organizations, you can't always compare yourself to other organizations. But where has and this is kind of echoing something Craig Elson said on our show a couple of weeks ago, where are the leaders on the San Diego Padres? And I don't mean, in the clubhouse, because we already know that there's a pretty severe lack of leadership in there. That's what we've all kind of, that or there's too many, right? There's too many voices, whatever. But there's no clear-cut voice. Nobody's following anybody into the gates of hell to go win a ball game in that clubhouse yet. So this isn't a personal attack on anyone. I realize that the job is very difficult, but at some point we need to hear from management. We need to hear from Peter Seidler at some point. We need to hear somebody say, this is on me and me alone, right? Watching Winning Time last night, I watched Jerry West and Pat Riley. Of course, they're actors. It's a show. But they walk into Jerry Buss's office, and Jerry West goes, blame me. And Pat Riley goes, nope.
Getting swept in the finals.
Yep. Yeah, he goes, blame me. And Pat Riley says, blame me. I could have made adjustments. And Jerry Buss says, fix it. We've just wasted a year of our lives. And that clicked in my head, and I went, that's cool. So I'm thinking about, I love Bob Scanlon so much. This is not an attack on Bob Scanlon. But on a last Friday, we got Bob Scanlon on just chewing the fat about a team that is spiraling the drain, would end up going to lose 2 out of 3. We have no idea of what a plan is. We have no idea. What are we waiting for? Are we waiting to be officially eliminated? It's coming. It's coming. So, the afternoon show's got Matt Batten on, Garrett Cooper the week before. These are guys that can't answer any questions.
I've been thinking about this a lot, actually. And I came to the realization, how do people in Major League Baseball get to where they are? For players, pretty simple. You work hard, your entire young life. You come up and play Little League and high school and travel ball and maybe college. You get drafted. You work your way up through the minors. You put in countless hours, and eventually you get to the big leagues, because you're talented enough and you're skilled enough and you've worked hard enough. How do managers get the job? Well, a lot of them are baseball lifers. They probably played growing up. They got into coaching. They worked their way up through the minor leagues, different jobs, and eventually they got their shot after amassing enough experience to be a Major League Baseball manager, get one of those 30 jobs. Same with GMs. GMs, oftentimes come through scouting and work their way up through travel. Really, tough life on the road for many years, and then maybe they get a job as an assistant GM, and that team does well, and they get a call, and they finally get to be the general manager of their own team after many, many years or even decades of experience. How do you become an owner of a professional sports team?
Buy a team.
You make a lot of money, usually in an industry that has nothing to do with sports. Whether you own restaurant chains or pharmaceutical company, or you're a venture capitalist, and one day you decide, because you really like the sport a lot, I am going to buy a baseball team or a football team. Nothing you've really done, though, in your life. I mean, maybe there's some business tie-ins, but really nothing has really prepared you to get to that point, to be an effective owner of a sports franchise. And that's why I feel like we see, not just in baseball, I'm not singling out Peter Seidler. I like Peter Seidler a lot. How can you not like Peter Seidler a ton? But you see all these seemingly incompetent billionaires who own professional sports franchises, and we all we're all surprised. How can a guy be that smart and make this much money, be so bad at what he's doing? Well, because what he's doing, he is not prepared at all in his life for what he is doing to own a professional sports franchise. It's one of the very few things where you get to the top of the pinnacle of something without any experience whatsoever before you get there.
Well, I mean,
and you have to then figure it out as you're going. And you make a lot of mistakes usually.
In our owner's case, I mean, he came from a lineage of owning a baseball team. So
he did.
He's
Family,
been around it.
Family had some of that.
Yep. So my big question is, A, what's the plan? B, why haven't we heard from anybody at all? The leadership of this organization has disappeared, man. Disappeared from social media, disappeared entirely. Where are they? We get called soft all the time. This is a friendly place to come. And you won't come on and tell everybody, hey, this sucks. We know it sucks. I don't know if they're waiting for a certain time. Please know we've asked for the leadership every single week, okay?
We've heard from AJ a few times.
Right,
but it was always
AJ didn't answer one single question.
It was always couched in the hope that they were going to turn it around.
Sure. And the last time we talked to him, there was still some hope. Had they been able to get some ball games going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know what the plan is. And again, maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe I'm a few weeks early. Maybe we will get this in 3 weeks and I'll be happy. But while people's phones are ringing, including my own, by the way, I was at the game on Wednesday. My phone rang. Hello? Hi, this is Caitlin. I work for the San Diego Padres, and I saw you were a season ticket member. Would you like to re-up? And I would have a hard time re-upping without knowing what the plan is, right? Whether it's a radio job, whether it's buying a house. I need to know what the plan is.
You want to know that there's a good plan in place, though, because you want to be excited about this team going forward.
No question.
But it's hard to until you have any idea what have you identified as some of the issues, and how are you going to address them going forward?
I saw Brian Cashman sit in a dugout and do a press conference. I saw Steve Cohen do a press conference. Again, and that's why I started the conversation saying not every organization is run the same.
And that doesn't fix anything, by the way.
It doesn't fix a damn thing. It doesn't fix a damn thing. I think what the fans need to hear is a little bit of, I don't know, almost reassurance that there's still a plan in place, a reassurance that, you know, we know how this. We're not dumb. We've covered this team every pitch of every game. We know that it hasn't gone the way you guys wanted it to. How do you fix it? Like I said a couple weeks ago, nothing changes if nothing changes.
The one thing that Peter Seidler's been very consistent on is that he has said, I want to win above anything else. And that's not always been the case in San Diego with professional sports teams. So in that, as long as that hasn't changed, that's a good place to start. That the goal is to go out and win. Marco
wants to know, he says, do we actually need to hear them say this sucks? My answer is yes. Mm-hmm. My answer is yes. My answer to that is I'd like to hear from the owner to say this is terrible. Peter was on our show and said that was a once-in-a-century collapse. Well, now here's another one. Maybe even worse than the last one, based on payroll, expectations, how far you got last year. I want to know it's going to be different this year. And I know you can't count on anything with sports. Eyewash me, man. Eyewash me to death. I need some eyewash. I needed it from the players. They haven't shown it. I need it from the leadership of this team. I mean, it's been a ghost town.
I can't say with certainty that if they ran it back next year with pretty much the same guys they had, they wouldn't do a ton better. But that is also a really tough
sell.
And a really tough argument to make.
But you say
it may be the right thing to do, but that is going to be a tough sell if that's what they've decided. That AJ and Bob and everyone that's in place is the right people, and we're not really going to make any changes. We're just going to assume things are going to be better next year without doing anything.
That's a tough sell.
It could be right, but that's a tough sell.
It's like I tell my kids, this is dinner. Eat it. This is your dinner. You're not in a diner. All right. I'm not a short order cook. This is the dinner we've made. You got to eat it. And we as Padre fans, you don't have a choice. You got to eat the team that they feed you. You have to. They're going to put it on your plate and say, here, see you opening day. And you got to get your fork and go, all right, hope this one stays down, because this year did not stay down. We've had bubble guts for 140 games. So I want to hear from somebody. I want some accountability. I want to hear from somebody. I want them to tell us, hey, man, we laughed at Ron Fowler years ago and he said heads were going to roll. I'm not even necessarily saying heads got to roll. Something's got to change. Something. Because I don't know how you continue to want the fan base. Leadership has vanished. The fans haven't. They're still here. They're still selling out the games and everything else and supporting the team. And it's just like, where did it go? Who's going to own this? Who's going to own this? Let's get this organization back on track. What's it going to take? That's the funny thing. I swear to God, I feel like if Peter came in here and sat down for an hour and said, look, next year, guys, may sting a little bit. It may sting. I think there are Padre fans out there that could deal with it. But, I'm not going to be throwing good money after bad anymore. I'm going to count on Jackson Merrill. I'm going to count on Iriarte. I'm going to count Dylan Lesko.
I don't know that would sting. I mean, the Dodgers essentially did that this season.
And they're going to win 100 games. Honestly, I feel like if we just heard it, you better tell us now so we can prepare ourselves for it.